श्री गणेशाय नमः। श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांशहस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्। अन्तर्यश्च बहिर्विधूततिमिरं ज्योतिर्मयं शाश्वतं स्थानं प्राप्य विराजते विनमताम् अज्ञानमुन्मूलयन् पश्यन् विश्वमपीदमुल्लसति यो विश्वस्य पारे परः तस्मै श्रीरमणाय लोकगुरवे शोकस्य हन्त्रे नमः। Let us do the Mangalacharana of this text. सत्प्रत्ययाः किन्नु विहाय सन्तम् हृद्येषु चिन्ता रहितो हृदाख्यः कथं स्मरामस्तममेयमेकं तस्य स्मृतिस्तत्र दृढैव निष्ठा मृत्युञ्जयं मृत्युभयाश्रितानाम् अहं मतिर्मृत्युमुपैति पूर्वम् अथ स्वभावादमृतेषु तेषु कथं पुनर्मृत्युधियोऽवकाशः। We are seeing the text called Saddarshanam. And Raman Maharshi Ji is talking about our ahankara and a technique by which the swarupa can be gained. Let us chant the verses 23 and 24. आत्मानमीक्षेत् परमं परं प्रपश्येत् इत्यागमोक्ते सुलभो न भावः नात्मैव दृश्यो यदि काकथेशे स्वयं तदन्यीभवनन्तदीक्षा धिये प्रकाशं परमोऽवतीर्य स्वयं धियोऽन्तः प्रविभाति गुप्तः धियं परावर्त्य धियोऽन्तरेऽत्र संयोजनान्नेश्वरदृष्टिरन्या। The self lends the capacity to illumine to intellect. With that capacity, the intellect illumines everything, the world outside and itself. That same intellect, when turned inwards, will be able to grasp, know, and directly experience the truth, and that's why it should be turned inwards. The aikya, the oneness or the union will take place when that mind or intellect is turned inwards. Having explained this with reference to this topic, now Raman Maharshi Ji in next 3 verses is going to give a detailed description, explanation about ahankara, this aham. And using this aham, how one can know the truth, our own true self. how this ahankara acts, how this ahankara tries to hide, how this ahankara deceives us, etc. Let us see. Verse 25. न वक्ति देहोऽहमिति प्रसुप्तौ न कोऽपि नाभूवमिति प्रवक्ति यत्रोदिते सर्वमुदेति तस्य धियाहमशोधय जन्मदेशम्. देहः न वक्ति. देहः gross body, or you can say subtle body, but primarily here gross body. Does not say, does not speak. What it does not speak? I am. Prasupto, in deep sleep. न कहा अपि, न कोपि, न कहा अपि, nobody. न अभूवम इति वक्ति प्रवक्ति. न अभूवम, I was not there, I was not. Pravakti says. Nobody says I was not when in deep sleep. In deep sleep. Yatra udite. When it is born, when it rises, sarvam udeti. Everything rises. Everything is born. Tasya ahamaha, of that I, of that aham, ahankara. Janmadesham, birthplace, the place of origin. Dhya shodhaya, with intellect, search. The body does not say I am. The gross body does not say I am. Nobody says I was not in deep sleep. Search with your intellect the origin, the root, the place of birth of this aham, ahankara. Which ahankara? The ahankara which, when is born, when it rises, everything also rises, everything also takes place, everything also is born. Let us understand what is meant here. Let us first understand what is meant by dhiya aham. Yatrodite sarvamudeti yasya tasya. In Viveka Chudamani, there is one verse where Acharyaji is explaining from where this birth is coming out, or from where this entire prapancha that is around us, that we experience, is coming. For which he says it is nothing but mind. When mind is, the entire prapancha is. When mind is not, the entire prapancha is not. Therefore, this entire creation is nothing but mind. Simple. धिया सहोदेति धियास्तमेति लोकस्ततोधिः प्रविभात्य एषः. धीलोकजन्मक्षयधाम शून्यं सद्वस्तु जन्मक्षय शून्यमेकम्. You saw धिया सह उदेति धियास्तमेति. The entire creation is born. This is in Saddarshanam, in this text itself. It is the entire prapancha is born with intellect and goes away with intellect. When does intellect rise and when does it go away? In deep sleep and in other two states. With that reference, ahankara also has been referred. Understand, whenever it is said ahankara, intellect, buddhi, etc., they are nothing but one antahkarana, but depending on their function, they have been referred with different names. So it can antahkarana can be referred with different names based on the function which is being pointed out. Here, this I notion, aham buddhi, ahankara is being referred to. Let us go to the beginning of the verse. Raman Maharshi is pointing out that this gross body never says I am. What is this gross body? Who is this? Understand, this gross body, or when it is referred to body, you can go for subtle body also. This gross body is made up of five elements, grossified five elements. That is earth, grossified earth, water, fire, air, and space. It is made up of all these five things. They are grossified. That means they have undergone self-duplication. They have mixed with each other while being individual. That is a totally different topic, but let me explain in short. I am not going to go in detail right now. In the beginning, when the creation starts, all these five elements, all these five tattvas, they are individually present and from which subtle creation takes place. When grossification takes place, when the panchikarana takes place, what happens is air will divide itself into two parts. The second part will be divided into four parts, and same will be done by all other four elements. Space has its own half, and for other half it has now four parts. Those four parts will be given to other four elements. Same will be done by each individual element. So in the end, what happens is each and every element will have half of its own and one-eighth of all the other elements. Such an element, such an akasha or vayu, space or air or fire or water or earth, which has half of its own and one-eighth of the other, such is called grossified element. Made up of such grossified five elements. Akasha, starting from space to earth, is this gross body. This gross body never says I am. Have you ever heard this gross body saying I am? No. If that was the case, this gross body would have rebelled against us long time ago. The unhealthy way with which we treat it sometimes, it would have rejected us. Gross body never says I am. Then who is saying I am? Is it mind? It must be mind. Is it not? Or intellect? Intellect says I am. But that is not true. Gross body is not saying I am. Then is it intellect? But I know my intellect. I know that I know or I don't know. Knowing and not knowing is the function of intellect. Being unsure, to deliberate, is the function of mind. I know my mind, I know my intellect. That means mind and intellect, they both know, don't say or cannot say I am. That means subtle body also never says I am. My organs of action, organs of senses, they do not say I am. Even though I am, this ahankara is part of subtle body. Understand, we are not referring to subtle body as whole. The point here being, who is saying this I am? Dehaha na vakti. Then who is this I, aham, that takes this body and mind? If we inquire, we find, okay, I say I am in waking and dream. I do not say I am dreaming, but in dream also our actions are exactly like that, are like those in waking. Even in dream, I act in the same way as in waking. So, this ahankara, this I, is not there in deep sleep. Is it not? No. The I, aham, even though it is not expressing itself in deep sleep, it is still there. It is very much there. It is present. How do you say so? Simple. If this I, aham, was not there in deep sleep, who would have said I slept well? Who would have said I slept well? I did not know anything. Yes, it is true that ahankara undergoes laya, temporary dissolution, pralaya, in deep sleep, but it does not go away. It comes back. In deep sleep, I am not experiencing myself I can never be experienced. I, quote unquote, can never be experienced in deep sleep. And when I get up, when I wake up, I say I slept well. I did not know anything. This ahankara manifests when antahkarana vrittis, when thoughts manifest, and it goes away when thoughts are not manifesting. Another way around. Thoughts manifest in my mind when ahamkara is, and thoughts do not manifest when ahamkara is not. Here, we have to understand two things. Which I, aham, are we referring to now? Let us go back little bit and see what two statements have been made. Navakti dehoham iti prasuptau. Nobody says that I am. The body does not say Navakti dehaha. The body does not say I am. Nobody says I was not in deep sleep. Prasuptau na kopi na abhuvam iti pravakti. The second statement is referring to pratyabhijna. Because aham was there, because this I was there, I was able to say that I slept well. No one says that I was not there in deep sleep. If somebody says so, there is something wrong with him. If I was not there in deep sleep, then I would not have known or experienced that state at all. I do say I slept well. And it is not anumana or inference. For total absence of experience, there can never be anumana, inference. It is not inferred knowledge that I slept well. It is our own experience. Why does it happen? For which there is an explanation which is called pratyabhijna. What is pratyabhijna? Let us simplify. Tatta idanta ekabhavavagahini vritti. That is pratyabhijna. A thought, vritti, which identifies, unites, or tells us about oneness, the sameness between tatta and idanta, thatness and thisness. The person who went to sleep is the same person which has woken up. When I went to sleep, I am that same person who went to sleep. Do we not say that? Do we not experience it? I went to sleep and I am the same person who has woken up. This oneness between the one who slept well, the one who went to sleep, and the one who has woken up, the thought by which this oneness is understood, known, is pratyabhijna. If I was not there in deep sleep, no experience from deep sleep would have been available for us in waking, and we would have talked about only waking and dream and not about deep sleep. Why? Because no experience of that state is available. Therefore, nobody says I was not in deep sleep. Yatrodite sarvamudeti tasya. And that which when rises, now further, when the ahankara manifests, sarvam udeti, everything rises. In Drigdrishya Viveka, or also known as Vakya Sudha, a text composed by Vidyaranya Muni, there is one beautiful verse. Ahankara laye suptau bhaved dehopyachetanaha ahankara vikasardha swapnas sarvasu jagraha. When this ahankara it goes into dissolution, undergoes laya, everything goes away. When it is half awake, it is dream state. And when it is fully awake, it is waking state. So ahankara when rises, it gives rise to dream and waking. So dream state and waking state, they are born as though they rise when this ahankara rises. And they go away when this ahankara undergoes dissolution. Then what should we do? Therefore, Raman Maharshi ji gives instruction, Dhiya, by intellect, ahamaha janmadesham shodhaya. Janmadesham, the birthplace of aham, this ahankara, shodhaya, search. When we inquire into from where this ahankara is coming, we will know our own true nature. Look, what happens is, ahamaha janmadesham shodhaya. Search for the root of this ahankara. When we start inquiring, we realize that it has no existence of its own. And when it gets dropped because we fail to know or identify its existence, the self will shine forth. This ahankara, in the next verse it is going to come, is existing on its own because of identification and nothing else. Who has gone to sleep? Who is waking up? The aham, I, quote unquote. This I, who has identified with this gross body and subtle body on account of ignorance, which is causal body, that aham is waking up and is undergoing sleep. Nothing else. When it stops identifying with waking and dream, it will know that it is not this aham which is manifesting or undergoing sleep, etc., but it is pure consciousness principle. What is happening here? Let us see the next verse. Verse 26. देहो न जानाति सतो न जन्म देह प्रमाणोऽन्य उदेति मध्ये अहंकृति ग्रंथि विबंध सूक्ष्म शरीर चेतो भवजीवनामा. देहः न जानाति. देहः न जानाति. Body does not know. सतः जन्म न. सतः, सत, chaitanya, the existence principle. Janma na, there is no birth. Madhye, in between those two, sat and deha. Anyaha, someone else, something else. Deha pramanaha udeti, which is of the size of this gross body, udeti, rises, is born. And what is it? What is that which is rising, is born, being born? अहंकृति ग्रंथि विबंध सूक्ष्म शरीर चेतो भव जीव नामा. that which has names such as ahankruti, ahankara, granthi, not uh, vibandha, bandha, bondage, sukshma, sukshma, subtle body, sukshma sharira, chetaha, chetaha, uh, intellect or mind, jiva, the individual self. Let us understand the general meaning. The body does not know. The truth has no birth. There is no birth for Sat principle, the existence principle. In the middle of these two, the existence principle and this body, there is another which is of the size of this body, which is of different names, identifications, that is ahankara, mana, buddhi, sukshma sharira, etc. Let us understand. Dehaha na janati. The body does not know. The body does not know anything. The body does not know itself or anything else. Body is jada, inert, and that is the definition of inert. What is inert? What is jada? We have seen. Let us go through it quickly. Anything and everything which does not know itself or does not know anything else is jada, inert. Because gross body does not know itself or anything else, it is jada. So body is inert. It does not know. Sataha janmana. Sat, the existence principle, is not born. Two contrasts have been shown. Why so? Let us see the qualities of this both gross body and Sat existence principle. We see this gross body being born and undergoing modifications. It undergoes 6 different modifications. Jayate is born, asti exists, vardhate grows, viparinamate modifies, apakshiyate decays, vinashyati gets destroyed. This gross body or this body undergoes all these 6 modifications. The first of which is birth. We do not experience the birth of our own gross body, but we do experience the birth of someone else's. Birth of this gross body. But if we really look at it, we say, I was born, I am. We celebrate our date of birth, birthdays. Do we not celebrate them? Yes, we do. But understand the truth, the existence because of which our body exists is birthless. Now we are looking at the qualities of the existence principle. The existence principle is birthless. It is unborn, anadi, without any beginning. If it had any beginning, we would land in trouble. If if there were, okay, understand, look here. I was trying to avoid this topic, but there is no chance that I can avoid. Let us say there is this certain timeline. And on this timeline, starting from say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, just put 10 points. From 1 to 5, Sat, existence was not there. And from 5 onwards ahead, the existence is. The question is, then before 5, before point 5, starting from 1, what was there? Nothing. Okay. So nothing was there? Yes. There was nothing. That means nothing existed before existence? Yes. If existence itself was not there, then how can nothing exist? Now, don't just get caught up in the wordplay. The conclusion here is there can be no point of time where existence was not. All our experiences are as is. And that isness itself is the existence principle. The existence of object, that object may be bound by time, may be limited by time, it may be born, it may undergo decay, but existence does not undergo decay, is not born. That is the nature of Sat. Therefore it is said, Dehaha na janati, body does not know, Sataha janma na. Sat does not have birth. In these two statements, what they are not have been shown, and what the other one is has also been told. Dehaha janma na, dehaha na janati, Sat janati. Body does not know. Sat, existence principle, knows everything because it is sentient. Chetana. Dehaha janma, body has birth. Sataha janma na, body has no birth. If that is the case, there is Chaitanya, pure existence principle, pure existence, consciousness, happiness principle, which has no birth, which knows everything. And there is this gross body, which does not know anything, which has birth, etc. From where has this ego come? Who says, I know everything and I was born? Which is this ego? Who is this ego? Which has been born, which is there? That is being inquired into. Deha pramanaha anyaha madhye udeti. There is something else, something different, which is deha pramana, of the size of this body. Anyaha madhye udeti, which is born in between. When it is said in between, it is referring to they both coming together. This ahankara appears to have the characteristics of both. It has no independent existence of its own, but it takes existence from Sat and the bodies. It takes support of both. Let us understand the example so we will know what exactly is happening here. The flame or fire by itself has no shape. If you look at flames, they don't have any particular form or shape. They do have color, etc., but they don't have any particular shape. A ball of iron or steel, a ball of iron or steel, it does not have any capacity to give out light. It is cold. Ball of iron, it is cold. It has no light. Fire has light. It is hot. It does not have any shape. When this ball of iron is heated to or red hot, it is made red hot. What happens is, take that red hot ball of iron in dark room and you will see that it is giving out light and the fire has got shape like that of that iron ball. Now this is called as mutual superimposition anyonya adhyasa. The gross red hot the cold iron ball has borrowed the capacity to shed light from fire and fire has borrowed the shape and that particular form from that red hot iron ball. And when has this happened? Only when they both have come together in contact with each other as though, because even though the red iron ball has been heated up to red hot, if kept like that, it will go back to its normal state. Same thing is happening here. Madhya, in between Sat and gross body. When there is identification, as we were referring in earlier verse, the ahankara which is born, which rises, has taken qualities from both. It has taken sentiency from Sat principle, existence from Sat principle, and gross body, the birth, etc., from the gross body. It assumes the size of this gross body and sentiency of truth. It has taken sentiency from Sat, the existence principle, and it has taken shape, form, birth, etc., from this gross body. This ego, this ahankara, now goes around with different names. This ahankara itself has been called different names. Ahankara itself is the one. Other one is Granthi, also referred to as knot of ignorance. Avidya Granthi. Avidya Granthi, knowing or thinking that I am this gross body and this world is real. This is because the identification, mutual superimposition between body and Sat, the existence principle. Then Vibandha, this not itself, this I-ness, this ahankara itself is bondage. Sukshma Sharira, because it is not perceived like this gross body, it is also called Sukshma Sharira. Chetaha, it is also referred to as mind. and this itself is called as jiva and identifies as I, an individual self. Having explained this ahankara, Raman Maharshi is now giving the biography of this ahankara, what it does. Let us see the verse 27. रूपोद्भवो रूपततिप्रतिष्ठो रूपाशनो धूतगृहीतरूपः स्वयं विरूपः स्वविचारकाले धावत्यहङ्कारपिशाच एषः रूपोद्भवः. This ahankara, let us start with the last line. एषः अहङ्कारपिशाचः धावत्यहङ्कारपिशाच एषः. अहङ्कारपिशाच, पिशाच, a ghost in the form of ahankara. Rupa udbhavah is born within forms. Rupatati pratishtha is based on forms. Rupashanaha, it eats forms, a particular shape, etc. Dhuta gruhita rupaha, the one who takes up and gives up forms. Swayam virupaha, but itself does not have any form. Swavicharakale, at the time of inquiry into its own true nature, dhavati, runs away. This ghost of an ego, this ghost in the form of ego, is born in between forms, is based on group of forms, is eater of different forms. It has given up and held forms, and by itself it is formless and runs away at the time of inquiry into its own true nature itself. Let us see what Raman Maharshi is trying to explain. As it was shown in previous verse, this ahankara is between gross body and Sat, the existence principle. It has assumed the form of this gross body, and as soon as it comes into existence, what happens is it starts living like an individual self. Rupodbhavaha. What has been told? Let us go with the words which have been associated with Rupa. Udbhava. Udbhava, birth. Pratishtha, existence. Ashana, eating. Dhuta gruhita, taking up, giving up. All these activities are done by this ahankara. This ahankara takes up rupa. It takes up certain form, that is gross body. It identifies with that. It says this gross body is me, this is me, I am. And as long as this gross body is, it stays. It stays within forms. All the forms which are around, this ahankara stays, identifies with those forms and stays there. So its existence is because of all the forms around it. Rupashanaha. What is this ego ahankara eating? It is eating nothing but forms, different shapes. It is experiencing different shapes and forms, nothing else. Dhuta Gruhita Rupaha. It will take up different forms, it will give up forms. That is, it will wear different clothes, it will change its size, shape, etc. Like size and shape of this gross body. It will identify with new forms, it will give up identification with other forms. And when all this thing is happening, throughout this, if we ask what is your form, Ahankara does not have form of its own. It does not have any shape. We cannot take out this Ahankara and show this is this Ahankara. No, it is not possible to be shown. Therefore, what we have to understand is this Ahankara is nothing but ignorance. And therefore, Raman Maharshi is saying, when we start inquiring into the nature of this I, who is this I? Where is it coming from? Who are you? It starts running away because it does not have any existence of its own. It is Bhranti delusion. Sureshwaracharya ji, in one of his texts, he talks about Maya, Avidya, Bhranti, but it is applicable to this Ahankara also here in this context. He says, Seyam Bhranti, Sayam Bhranti. It is this, that is this ignorance, Bhranti, delusion, Niralamba. Niralamba without any substantiation, without any form or base. Sarvan Nyaya Virodhini. It defies all logic. Sahatena vicharam sa, but it cannot sustain inquiry. Because if we inquire into it, it goes away. It loses all its existence, just like darkness goes away when the sun rises. In the same way, when we start inquiring into the nature of this ahankara, ignorance, it will start running away, it will go away. Now, the survival instinct, the ego is very smart. It will make you believe that it has gone away while it is hiding. How is it so? How do we inquire into the nature of this ego? We will see in a bit more detail, but that we will see next time. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om